This is Hashtag History, episode 69. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Leah.
And this is episode
69.
Right? It's 69.
Yes.
You all know we had to play on that. We had to do some kind of weird sex history, something or other.
And you already did Kellogg Porn Flakes, so
that was gone.
That's gone.
Which stinks.
Off the table.
There's hardly any weird history about sex.
Yeah.
But we certainly have an episode prepared for you all today.
Yes.
Because while the particular person we are discussing in this week's episode should be better known, considering the fact that he was the guy that wrote the We the People preamble to the United States Constitution, he continues to exist as the forgotten founding father. And while we will, of course, touch on his accomplishments and contributions to the birth of America, this is episode 69. Mm-hmm. And accomplishments and contributions aren't necessarily what we are here for. So, just to be honest.
Yeah.
Because this week we are discussing Gouverneur Morris, who, in addition to being the forgotten founding father, was also maybe the weirdest, wildest, and, dare I say it, freakiest founding father of them all.
He was the forgotten freaky founding father.
The forgotten freaky. The freakiest.
The freakiest of the forgotten founding fathers.
Yes, exactly.
We've had gin.
I'll give our listeners a quick sneak peek at what we will be talking about in this episode in relation to Morris. So we're going to be talking about the fact that this guy liked to have sex in public. One of those public places being the Louvre. Many times at the Louvre.
Like it was specifically the Louvre?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He had a peg leg, which was maybe from a carriage accident, but also maybe it was from when he jumped from a balcony to escape from a mistress's husband.
Okay.
He got married for the first time when he was 57 years old to his housekeeper, who had previously been accused of killing her newborn baby. Uh-huh. And he would eventually die when he attempted to perform surgery on his own penis by using a whalebone to unblock his urethra. But he would end up giving himself a fatal injury. Yeah, so before we get into all of that, let's get into the cocktail. And I cannot even wait to see what you came up with for this episode.
Oh, okay.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Leah.
And this is Hashtag History,
the podcast for both history nerds and history haters alike,
where we dive into history's greatest stories of controversy, conspiracy, and corruption.
So, we'll just get right into it. We're discussing Gouverneur Morris this week, who was known to have an affair or two or 10 in his lifetime.
Yep, that's accurate.
Okay, so I thought not only in honor of his sex life, but also in honor of our 69th episode, we could drink Love Potion number 69.
That's fantastic.
Okay. So this contains triple sec.
Yum.
Tequila.
Yay.
Grenadine.
Oh, God.
Pomegranate juice. Orange juice. Lime juice. All of the things that we love.
If you put together my favorite things, it is this drink. I can't wait.
Yeah. So you can check out the full recipe when we post it on Thirsty Thursday.
Yes.
To our Instagram. But for now, clink.
Cheers.
And it's a big glass, so we're going to have to chug a little bit.
10.
Yeah.
It's a 10.
It's a 10.
It's a 10 out of 10. That was a delicious drink. That's fantastic.
Fantastic.
Maybe a favorite of this whole season.
Of the whole season.
Yeah.
Because honestly, the season has been a little, wishy-washy.
It really has been wishy-washy. I feel like it's been a solid, 6. But this is amazing. I love this so much.
So yeah, Love Potion number 69, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Mm-hmm. All right. So before we get into the more risque stuff, we have to first cover the more boring things like, making history and changing the world and being directly responsible for the birth of America and, shaping modern day New York and that kind of stuff.
Ugh.
Yeah, gross.
Gross.
So Gouverneur Morris was born on January 31st, 1753. Morris was named after his mother's last name, which in Dutch and French quite literally means governor.
Yeah.
He was born in what is today the Bronx. He went on to King's College, which is now today New York City's Columbia University, when he was only 12 years old.
Wow.
He graduated with a master's degree and was later admitted to the bar. In 1775, at 24 years old, he would become the youngest member of the New York Provincial Congress. It was while he was serving in Congress that the American Revolution would begin, and this would tear his family apart. I know up until maybe like last year-ish, the American Revolution and the toll that it had on families was a little more of a distant concept to me. But after this last year and all the differing opinions on COVID and the vaccine and elections and police brutality, I definitely know how politics can create a wedge.
For sure.
Within a family.
Yeah.
And with friends.
Yeah.
And this was very much what Morris saw in his own life. Initially, Morris feared independence from Britain because he didn't trust his fellow colonists and believed war against Britain would result in like a mob mentality. Mm-hmm. But eventually, he did side in favor of independence, while the majority of his family was quite the opposite. His brother was actually an officer in the British Army, and when his mother donated their house to the British Army for the war effort, Morris was kicked out and wouldn't see his mother for another 7 years. Yeah. Talk about politics coming between a family.
Yeah.
He sat in the Continental Congress from 1778 to 1779 and was responsible for a number of things, including signing the Articles of Confederation. So for anyone that needs the reminder, that was the original U.S. Constitution. He was the youngest person to sign the Articles. Although James Madison is credited as being the primary writer of the U.S. Constitution, it can be argued that Gouverneur Morris was just as, if not more, important. At the Constitutional Convention of 1787, where delegates met together over the course of 4 months to determine exactly what the U.S. Constitution would say, Morris spoke a total of 173 times, which was more than any other delegate.
Wow, so we had a lot to say.
Yeah, he had a lot to say. He was also directly responsible for the preamble language that is in our Constitution today. It took him 3 days to put it together, and it truly made all of the difference in how we identify as U.S. citizens today. Initially, the language of the Constitution, our U.S. Constitution, read... Actually, Leah, I'm hoping you will read it.
Yes, I am excited to see the difference here. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it said... We, the people of the states of New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Providence Plantations, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia, do obtain, declare, and establish the following Constitution for the government of ourselves and our posterity.
Yeah, so he changed that language to read...
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, to establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Damn, drop the mic, like, get it.
That sounds a little more familiar. Get it, Gouverneur. This language completely changed things. As opposed to viewing things in terms of states that were part of a confederation, instead, Morris's new language encouraged Americans to view themselves as a unified nation.
Which, like, that...
It makes all the difference, doesn't it?
You see the little string from there to where we're at now, like, nationalism...
Mm-hmm.
Patriotism.
Yeah.
And not to say it all bad things, but all aspects of patriotism and nationalism can probably be drawn to his changes there.
I think that's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
One of the things Morris was most outspoken about was slavery and how he believed it to be, quote, the curse of heaven on the states where it prevailed. Morris argued that the whole point of the Constitution was to protect human rights and that slavery directly contradicts that.
I like Morris.
I know, right?
I didn't know who he was.
I don't think many people do. Yeah. He's the forgotten, freaky founding father.
I love him.
Something else notable about Morris was his close relationship with fellow founding father Alexander Hamilton.
Hamilton.
I am the ale EXANDER. We are meant to be a colony that runs independent. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. As you know, if you are familiar with the musical Hamilton, which if you aren't, stop listening to
I was
going to
say, why do you listen to us? Because that's half of the things we talk about are Hamilton.
Stop listening to our podcast and go listen to Hamilton right now.
Or like
no exceptions.
Go watch it on Disney Plus, like, or download it illegally. Like, whatever.
So if you are familiar with the musical, you know very well that Hamilton was an immigrant born as an illegitimate child. He did not share this information with many people, but it appears as though he shared it with Morris based on the correspondence we can see in the letters exchanged between the two of them. So that obviously speaks to like the level of friendship between them.
Why wasn't Morris in the Hamilton?
He's forgotten. He's forgotten.
Yeah.
Morris was also there at Hamilton's bedside when he died, and he would go on to write Hamilton's eulogy.
What the fuck?
Yeah. It's even speculated that there may have been a romantic relationship between the two of them. In all the research I did, I don't really see the likelihood of that. There are a few instances where Hamilton may have been flirting with Morris in their letters, but Morris never said anything that appeared to reciprocate. But because Hamilton's sexuality has long been speculated by historians, many of whom believe him to have been bisexual, there, of course, have been speculations regarding his relationship with Morris as well.
Men can flirt with each other regardless of their actual relationships.
Totally. And I think most of Hamilton's, most of the speculation comes from his relationship with Lawrence. Like there were a couple letters that he wrote to him that were flirty with Lawrence.
I love it.
And that's about it insofar as Morris's significant contributions to American history are concerned.
That's it?
That's all. You know, like little thing here or there.
Just learn a little bit.
The rest of his career isn't quite as involved. He served as minister to France for a brief period of time, which happened to be during the French Revolution. Many of the French were not big fans of him, though, as he ultimately sided with the monarchy. In fact, he was so obsessed, or perhaps obsessed is not the right word, but like he was so on the side of the monarchy that following the French Revolution, he had Marie Antoinette's furniture shipped to him in the Bronx. Following his stay in Europe, he assumed a U.S. Senate seat when he returned to the States, but only served in that position for 3 years. He served as chairman of the Erie Canal Commission and has been credited as essentially constructing modern-day New York. In 1807, he was on a commission responsible for growing New York City. While on this commission, he helped to create the iconic street grid system with 12 parallel avenues that intersect 155 streets.
Is that all? I thought you said we were done with his accomplishments. So
now we're done. Okay. Now we're done.
He essentially built New York City.
No big deal. Now let's move on to the juicy stuff.
Okay.
Hey everyone, I'm Kelly.
And I'm Emily, and we're from Whining About Herstory.
Ever notice how women seem to be missed, forgotten, or maybe even purposely left out of history books?
We did, so we decided to take the his out of history and make it herstory.
Each episode, we discuss the lives and general awesomeness of these historical Wonder Women, all while having a glass of wine.
Or maybe a bottle. Come join us on all of your favorite podcast platforms at WAH Pod on Instagram, WAH_pod on Twitter, and at whiningaboutherstory.com. Remember, that's no H or E in whining.
See you soon. Cheers!
So, Gouverneur Morris, he liked the ladies.
Yeah.
We know from his diaries that he had many affairs during his lifetime, many of which were with married women. One such affair was with novelist. I'm hoping again to tap into your high school French education for the name of this woman.
Comtesse Adelaide de Fleurot.
That was beautiful.
Comtesse means like countess. Adelaide de Fleurot.
That was beautiful. So he had an affair with her while he was in France. She had an apartment inside of the Louvre before it was officially converted into a museum. Mm-hmm. In his diary, Morris wrote of how he and the Mademoiselle.
You got it. You got that one.
Thanks. It's because I heard it in Beauty and the Beast. would have sex with the doors wide open with visitors passing by. Even more outrageous, Morris wrote in his diary that he would also go on to have an affair with this woman's niece.
The hell?
Yeah. As I teased at the beginning of the episode, Morris had a peg leg, and there are literally 500 different stories as to how he ended up with his peg leg. The majority of these stories agree that it had something to do with a carriage accident, although the story about even that differs from account to account. It could all be a rumor, but allegedly, Morris lost his leg at the age of 32 when he was hit by a carriage while running away from a lover's husband. As one story goes, while Morris was running away from this scorned husband, he ran into a carriage that then ran over his leg.
Eesh.
Another story says that Morris was in a second-story bedroom with this lover, and when the husband came running after him, he broke his leg as he jumped from the balcony. Either way, the leg was so badly damaged that a doctor determined that it had to be amputated. Many of Morris's friends assumed that this alone would slow down his romantic life, but it definitely did not.
Yeah.
In fact, when Morris kept on keeping on, founding father John Jay wrote that he wished Morris, quote, had lost something else.
The founding fathers were so flippin' funny.
Sassy.
They were sassy AF.
They were sassy AF. Morris used this leg to his advantage. In fact, there's this story that while he was in France during the French Revolution, he was riding in a carriage with one of his, many lovers.
Yeah.
When a mob began attacking the carriage. He took his peg leg off and started shaking it out the window of the carriage. This distracted the mob so much that his carriage was able to speed away.
I want to imagine living in a world where I'm angrily attacking a car. And the sight of someone shaking an artificial leg at me, that would distract me.
It would cause you pause.
Okay, I can relate.
It would cause pause. One such woman that Morris had a relationship with was his housekeeper. Mm-hmm. In fact, this particular relationship shocked many of his friends because in 1809, at 57 years old, he married this woman, something his friends never thought he would do.
Which that would have been scandalous, I bet.
To
marry a housekeeper?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it was. Her name was Anne Carrie Nancy Randolph, and she was 22 years his junior. Mm-hmm. But this wasn't all that was shocking about this marriage, because Randolph had this little old, huge thing in her past. Mm-hmm. When Randolph was only 17 years old, it's alleged that she slept with her brother-in-law. She became pregnant, and when she gave birth, she insisted that the baby was stillborn. Many didn't believe this, though, and she was put on trial for the murder of the baby, but was eventually acquitted. In 1813, when Morris was 61 years old, he became a father for the first time. When Randolph gave birth to their son. 3 years later, Morris would meet an untimely death. He began experiencing excruciating pain from a urinary tract infection. Nowadays, many historians believe that perhaps he had prostate cancer. In an attempt to remedy the situation himself, Morris grabbed a whale bone.
Why? Of all things.
A whale bone. And shoved it up his urethra to get rid of the blockage. And I guess... I just think about why, I guess when I'm trying to remove a blockage in my sink, I will DIY that. I will not DIY my urethra. You know what I'm saying? I will DIY a clogged sink. When I have a urinary tract infection, I go to my doctor and I get antibiotics.
Or in this case, have your doctor come to you, because that's what they did back then. You didn't even have to go.
Instead, all you had to do was send a letter to go to a doctor that would eventually come 3 weeks later. That's all you had to do.
Yeah.
He ended up damaging himself further, causing internal injuries, which would lead to infection. He would pass away only a few days later on November 6th, 1816, from what a Boston newspaper would report as a short but distressing illness.
They didn't go into the deets. I appreciate that.
A little deets. A little to say, it was painful.
At least they didn't say he took a whalebone and shoved it up his fucking penis. Because, like, how embarrassing after
right.
death, I would come back from being dead, murder the writer, and then die again.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. I can
if
respect
they
that.
actually said that I had done that. But
I can respect that.
He did also do that. So he probably doesn't have a lot of shame about it. Just based on what we've learned about him.
Not a lot of shame. Interestingly, in 1888, none other than future President Theodore Roosevelt actually wrote a biography on Morris.
Teddy.
In Roosevelt's words, he believed Morris to be one of the most intelligent and most brilliant of the Founding Fathers, and, quote, had he possessed but a little more steadiness and self-control, he would have stood among the 2 or 3 very foremost.
I kind of agree with you, Ted.
I think we would know more about him
had he not, like,
been freaky. I think while this episode was mostly focused on Morris's oddities and his sexual activity, the purpose of this episode was also to cast a spotlight on one of the Founding Fathers that we don't talk about enough.
Yeah, I've heard the name.
Yeah.
Couldn't have told you any of this.
I don't think many people do.
Yeah.
Including myself. I learned a lot when I was researching this episode. I knew the name as a history nerd, but I knew very little about him.
Yeah.
Gouverneur Morris oftentimes goes forgotten despite the fact that he wrote the preamble of the Constitution that ultimately identifies the United States as a group of United States. He was also super brave and intelligent, and he used both of these traits to speak out against things like slavery, something that many other Founding Fathers did not do.
Yeah.
But I think it's safe to say he also used a couple of other traits and attributes to,
get with the ladies.
I know. You all know. Well, thank you all so much for listening to this episode of #History.
All sources used to put together this episode can be found on our website at #history-pod.com.
Subscribe to us on whatever podcast platform you use. Share about us with your family and friends. And if you have just 2 minutes today, we would love it so much if you would give us a rate and review.
And then be sure to go check us out on Instagram. That's where we do all of our like extra fun,
all of our everything.
All of our social media things. So you can find us at #history_podcast.
And come join us over on Patreon, where for as little as $1 a month, you can help support our books and booze supply. You also get access to behind the scenes content, bonus #hangout episodes. You'll get an Instagram shout out, and we also mail you cards and stickers. And also you get 15% off all merchandise if you're a patron.
So hi
for $1
a month.
Yeah. And now, time for the big reveal. We are so excited to announce that for our season 7 finale episode dropping next week, we will be having the wonderful, the brilliant Alicia Gutierrez Romine on the podcast. Alicia is a historian, professor, and author of From Back Alley to the Border, Criminal Abortion in California from 1920 to 1969. I have read the book, and I am so excited to have her on the podcast next week to pick her brain about it.
I am so excited. She is such a big supporter of us on Instagram and stuff. She has liked every single thing we've posted. She has commented. I feel like I know her, even though I've never met her.
She has offered us her couch for when we go to Disneyland.
Like, she literally told us, you can crash on my couch when you're in Disneyland.
Yes, she's wonderful. And I have learned so much from the book that she wrote, and I cannot wait for all of you to learn it all directly from her as well.
So exciting.
I'm so excited. So we will see you all next week for that.
Yay!
Thank you.
Bye.
One of those weird claps.
Yeah, where it doesn't quite...
You know where sometimes you hit the good spot. You all know we had to play with that. We had to play on that.
Okay. Yes.
We had to play on that.
Play on that. Yeah.
Like a play on words.
We're not playing with anything.
We're not playing with a single thing. We are discussing Gouverneur... Now I can't say them together, though. Gouverneur Morris.
I mean, would it be terrible with palm cram juice?
Cran Pam?
Cram pan?
Gouverneur
I threw you off.
Gouverneur Morris.
Gouverneur.
That makes me think of in You've Got Mail. I've watched it so many times, so I don't know if you can make the same reference when he says "thank you" instead of "thank you" to
Thank you.
Gouverneur.
And please, who do you think you're fucking talking to?
Stupid. Provincial. Like Congress.
There must be more than this provincial life.
Yeah. This language.
It's the orange juice.
It's thick.
It makes you phlegmy.
Yeah, I'm phlegmy, all right. It appears as though he did share. Let me do that whole thing again.
You like how I shake my head like I know exactly what you're talking about?
You know who?
Yeah,
John
I
Lawrence,
do.
yeah, because of the musical.
Yeah,
but there were.
But I'm just like, oh yes.
But you do know because John Lawrence, the guy.
No, I know who he is.
I can't tell with you right now. I can't tell.
Outside of Hamilton, the musical, don't know anything about.
That's all you need to know.
Okay.
That's all you need to know. That's why I'm like, you know, because you do know, because of the musical.
Okay.
And then you're like, yeah, I know, but I don't know. So I'm confused. You're giving me conflicting messages.
I feel like all of my little comments are just sounds.
Yeah.
Oh. Ooh.
Ah.